Well, colleagues, as you know, this is Marla Tribich, and it is an absolute privilege for us. You are the first Holocaust survivor ever to address the Cabinet in this country, and so it really is quite an incredible occasion. And I know you've shared your story over many decades with thousands and thousands of people, and all of us, myself included, are humbled by your courage and inspired by your story. And I think it's really important that we all are loud and clear that we hear and we've heard and we act on yours and all the stories and experience of Holocaust survivors. It is our duty not just to hear and listen, but also to act and to absolutely deal with anybody who tries to deny or distort what happened in the Holocaust. The Holocaust Memorial Act was passed last week, so this is very timely in terms of your visit here to Cabinet, and the Holocaust Memorial and Learning Centre will be built next to Parliament. And I know you and your late brother campaigned so much for that to happen, so I'm really pleased to be able to welcome you the week after the Act was passed, and I know that's something that you feel very, very strongly about. So, Marla, thank you, and over to you.
Well, thank you, everybody, and hello to everyone. Prepared a little speech for you. So, Prime Minister, members of the Cabinet, my name is Marla Tribich, you already know that. And of course I'm a Holocaust survivor. I sit before you as one of the last remaining eyewitnesses to one of the darkest chapters in human history. 81 years after the liberation of the Nazi death and concentration camps, I'm here as a representative of the British Holocaust survivor community. For decades, we have spoken to people across the country, sharing our painful memories. We have done this out of deep sense of duty to ensure that what happened to our families and 6 million Jewish men, women, and children is never forgotten. Soon there will be no eyewitnesses left. That is why I ask you today to just listen, not to just listen, but to become my witnesses. I was born in Piotrków Trybunalski in Poland in 1930. I was the middle child of my parents, Sarah and Moshe Helfgott, with an older brother, Ben, and a younger sister, Lucia. I had a happy childhood. We lived in a comfortable apartment nearby with extended family, and there was a relatively large Jewish community. Life was very quiet, ordinary, but very pleasant and happy. In September 1939, the first Nazi ghetto was established in my hometown. Life there was brutal. It was overcrowded, food was scarce, disease was everywhere, and even as a 12-year-old child, I was forced into hard labor. Like so many families, mine was torn apart. My mother and my 8-year-old sister were taken away in December 1942. What happened to them is indescribable. They were murdered in the most horrific way, shot into open pits in Rakov forest. This was actually taking place all over the country, the forest killings. My father and brother were deported to Buchenwald. I was sent with my 5-year-old cousin Anne, first to Ravensbrück and then to Bergen-Belsen. I later learned that my father was murdered while trying to escape a death march just days before liberation. In the camps, we were stripped naked, shaved, put through freezing cold showers, and even given the prisoner garb. When we looked at each other, we barely recognized each other. We all looked the same. We were stripped not only of our freedom, but of our identities, our dignity, our humanity. It was as if they had taken away our very souls. When I arrived in Bergen-Belsen, the first thing that hit me was the smog and the stench. It was a hell on earth. Those still alive shuffled about like skeleton and just collapsed where they stood. Disease was everywhere, and I became very ill with typhus. I could hardly move. One day, from the window of my barracks, I saw people running, and all I could think of was, how have they got the strength to run? I couldn't move a muscle. That was on the 15th of April, 1945, when we were liberated by the British Army. And here I want to stress that they were wonderful, and I really pay tribute to them of how wonderful we were treated, and life just changed instantly when they arrived. Nearly a year after liberation, I received a letter from my older brother Ben. Against all odds, he had survived. It was arranged by the Central British Fund Committee for me to come to England, and we were reunited. Ben was a hero. Just 11 years after his liberation, he captained the British weightlifting team at the 1956 Melbourne Olympics. It was quite amazing. He was also the leader of our survivor community and champion of Holocaust education. He was knighted in 2018, and he passed away, unfortunately, in 2023. I miss him terribly. One of Ben's greatest wishes was to see the Holocaust Memorial Learning Centre built beside Parliament, a permanent place where survivor testimony would be preserved and where future generations could understand where anti-Semitism and hatred could lead if left unchallenged. He did not live to see the memorial, but he would have been proud to know that Parliament now passed the Holocaust Memorial Bill and that work will soon begin. Having endured the Holocaust, we survivors never imagined we would witness anti-Semitism at the level it is today. What we have seen in Manchester on Yom Kippur and in Sydney on Hanukkah has shaken me to the core. How 81 years after the Holocaust can Jewish people once again be targeted in this way? Remembering the past is no longer enough. I speak to you, leaders of this country. I proudly call home, and I plead that you do what needs to be done to tackle this hatred. When I was in Bergen-Belsen, I still had hope, because without hope, there's no survival. Today I have hope. I hope in the next generation, the thousands of young people who have heard my testimony. Thank you for inviting me to speak to you today, and thank you for listening.